Goodness gracious and the things that we speak into existence. Welcome back to Hot Takes, folks. I'm your host, Marcus, and I have a lot to get into today. Now, before I get into any football news, I have to start with basketball, which is what I ended with last episode. If you remember correctly, we were speaking about the possibility of the James Harden trade going down with the Brooklyn Nets. Well, since that episode, said trade has happened. It was a 4-team trade involving the Brooklyn Nets, Houston Rockets, Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Indiana Pacers. Essentially, the Brooklyn Nets gave up 4 future first-round picks. Yes, 4 first-round picks. And 4 pick swaps, all unprotected, to acquire James Harden and a second-round pick in the 2024 draft. In return, the Rockets would acquire Caris LeVert, Dante Exum, and of course those picks, to which the Rockets would then flip Caris LeVert to the Indiana Pacers to acquire one Victor Oladipo. Now, if you're wondering where the Cleveland Cavaliers come in to play here, part of that Nets trade, they're giving up Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince. Now, they're going to Cleveland. I'm not sure what Cleveland actually got out of this. Maybe like some salary cap. I'm not entirely sure what they got, honestly. This trade is, needless to say, a blockbuster. It's taking the NBA by storm, most certainly the East, because at first it was just Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and the rest of the Brooklyn Nets, and that was going to be a tough contender in the first place. But when you take James Harden, who is still in MVP form, and then you add that to Kevin Durant, who's returning to MVP form, and then you have an all-star like Kyrie Irving, who is without a doubt the best ball handler that we've ever seen, probably since, I'm going to say, Magic. So it's quite the little threesome they have right there. Now, not only that, but they have one of the most lethal shooters in the league on their team in Joe Harris. And let's not skip out on DeAndre Jordan, the starting center. Though he is not as good as he once was, he is still extremely athletic. He jumps extremely high, which gives him the opportunity to grab a ridiculous amount of boards and make some pretty good defensive stops. Now, last episode we had a question. Kyrie Irving. He's the crux of all this. He's doing some great work outside of basketball. I just wish he had enough wherewithal to actually understand that his contract with the NBA doesn't stop him from doing what he wants to do when it comes to social justice or anything of that sort, which he's doing great work in again, I must say. But he has to play. Like, you can't just not play. Like, he can end up voiding his contract. Now, I'm sure he's coming back, and so far the Brooklyn Nets have looked good with James Harden and Kevin Durant on the floor together. But that leaves the question, what happens when Kyrie Irving gets back? You have two ball dominant guards, one in James Harden and one in Kyrie Irving, and they have to learn how to play together. Someone's going to have to, really sacrifice here. In the meantime, while Kyrie is out, they have one heck of a dynamic duo in Brooklyn. Now, the part about this trade that really shakes everything up is we know how good they're going to be on offense, or potentially be on offense. They're going to be really hard to stop, from scoring. What's going to be even more interesting is they're going to have to play defense. Now, I'm not saying that Kevin Durant can't play defense. He's actually a great defender. And I'm not saying that Kyrie Irving can't play defense. He can, play defense when he wants to. He showed us that in the 2016 championship run with Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James. What's interesting is James Harden, who is not known for his defense. Not to say that he can't play it. He's just not known for it. As a matter of fact, it's been an internet meme that he's just not a defender at all. Like, he literally doesn't play defense. Well, at least he didn't in Houston. In his first game, he actually acquired a block and 4 steals. Yes, that's right, 4 steals. Showing that he is more than capable of playing this game at a very high level on both ends of the court. Now, how often he's going to be able to do that, we'll see what happens, as he is being reunited with his former coach in Houston. And speaking of which, let's get back to Houston. To me, they are probably the biggest beneficiary of this trade. Are they getting MVPs? No, they gave one up. But now they have John Wall, whom they acquired from the Wizards in an earlier trade. And they did pick up DeMarcus Cousins. Both of these players are coming back from injury, and they're former All-Stars. Now, I don't expect either of them to honestly get back to being those All-Stars that they once were, as both of them have been out of basketball for pretty much 2 years due to injury. But they do look good. DeMarcus Cousins is still playing himself back into, playing shape. He's doing all right with that. Now, what's really more important here to me is that Victor Oladipo is out of Indiana. Not to say that I wanted him out of Indiana, but I wanted to see him play with someone like a John Wall, and I got my wish. And he looks good. John Wall looks good. Victor Oladipo looks good, and so does DeMarcus Cousins. But the biggest story coming out of Houston is Christian Wood, who has had quite the NBA journey himself. He went from being undrafted to bouncing around the G League to different NBA teams, being cut several different times, and then he took off when he got to Detroit, and now he finds himself in Houston where he is averaging a swift 20 points per game. He's pretty much getting a double-double. And this coming for a guy who, honestly, no one knew who he was, and he kind of came out of nowhere. But he's actually a great story. The Houston Rockets are going to be set for the next, 6, 7, 8 years. I mean, think about that for a second. They went from trading to get Russell Westbrook and giving up all their first-round picks to the Oklahoma City Thunder to acquiring all of the Nets picks over the next, 6 or 8 years. And they have pick swaps. So if the Nets have a higher, position in the draft than the Rockets do, they can say, hey, let's switch that up. You take our pick, we take your pick, and they can't do anything about it because they're completely unprotected. Now, if this sounds familiar to you, basketball fans, it should. The first time the Brooklyn Nets did this after moving to Brooklyn was back when they had Deron Williams, and they were trying to buy a championship when they acquired Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett from the Boston Celtics shortly after they won their title. And these two were already past their prime. They also had Joe Johnson, if you don't remember him, legendary Hawks and Phoenix Suns player who could absolutely shoot the lights out. And it didn't work. As a matter of fact, the Brooklyn Nets in these last year or two just started to recover from that horrible blunder of a trade that they made with Danny H, who I do have to say, he's a shrewd operator, and he's one of the best GMs in the entire league, probably in league history. But man, he fleeced the Brooklyn Nets, and they're just not, and the fact that they're doing this again, I don't know if it shows their commitment to trying to win a championship, or does it show that they just throw caution to the wind and try to win everything right now as opposed to actually building a franchise that could stand the test of time. However you see it, it is what it is. Now, as you can probably tell, you see the pink bandana, and you can't see it, but yeah, I do support the Miami Heat in the absence of a Seattle basketball franchise. We've been on and off. It's been back and forth. We have to start playing championship level basketball, and I like I said last time, we benefited very much to the bubble last year, and I hope there's another bubble, not for our sake, but with the whole COVID crisis going on, we're seeing a lot of teams having to roll out with 7 and 8 players that can actually play because everyone's doing the contact tracing once someone has a case of COVID. And I kind of saw this coming. I just didn't say anything because honestly, I just, you don't want to speak anything into existence, but it happens. But I'm going to switch gears right quick and let's get into football. So last week, Tom Brady took on my Washington football team. And as expected, they won. So then my pick became, in the Super Bowl, Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Now, this will be a home game for Tampa Bay as the Super Bowl is being held in Tampa, regardless of whether the Buccaneers make it or not. This weekend's festivities, and it was quite a show in every single game, actually. More so than anything else, of course, we all expected there to be a battle of the old dogs with New Orleans and Tampa Bay, and it was a nice little show, mostly defense. I gotta say, I was not expecting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receivers to lay the egg that they did, but Tom Brady prevailed regardless because he showed that he's here to play. He even ran for a touchdown, if you can believe that. Yes, old as he is. I mean, I'm gonna start calling him Father Time because, man, he is good grief. But I digress. A lot of people chose the Saints to win the game because the Saints had dominated them early in the season. And hey, I try to tell everyone, as much as I hate to bring up the idea that Tom Brady is the GOAT, he is, 6 rings and all. It's like, for some reason, regular season Tom Brady is impressive, but when it's time to go for that championship, he turn up. I mean, he becomes a different animal. I mean, hey, that's playoff time for you. What else can I say about that? A bigger game was Baltimore and Buffalo. Now, to be honest, I expected Buffalo to win this game, but I didn't expect them to. I expected Bills Mafia. That's the fan base. I expected Bills Mafia to be a little more disrespectful. To be honest, they're surprising me. I mean, yes, we know them for jumping through tables and acting crazy. And honestly, I got to say, they're probably one of the more impressive fan bases I've ever seen. But, during this game in which Lamar Jackson unfortunately suffered a concussion, they actually donated to his favorite charity, because I guess that's just something that they wanted to do. And that's actually really great of them. Sticking with football and concussions, unfortunately. In the game, Cleveland versus Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes took a shot and was removed from the game. Prayers to him. Hopefully, he's able to practice and be ready for the game next weekend, as I really need him at his best, because I need him and the Kansas City Chiefs to meet Tom Brady, who has to get past the Green Bay Packers, who made it look easy against the Rams this past weekend. I really need this to happen, because it's rare that I ever get a Super Bowl pick correct, and this one feels like it's just a match made in heaven. Old GOAT versus new GOAT. Brady versus Mahomes. Just a tale. It's just a beautiful thing. Also, last episode, I decided I was going to get into some draft talk. Now, specifically about my Washington football team. Mainly because we have some serious holes that we need to fill. And mostly it's I know it sounds crazy as good as our defense was this year, but I'm going to address the defense. I need a corner and I need a safety. More than anything else, for the entire team, I do need another quarterback, as I expect Alex Smith to retire, which would actually free us up for about $23 million extra dollars in cap, which would give us an opportunity to not only pick up a big free agent, but if we have the trade assets and the team is willing to do it, we can go after a quarterback. And no, not Deshaun Watson. And I love Deshaun Watson. I would love for him to be in Washington, don't get me wrong. But more than likely, with a talent like his and a contract like his, what's going to end up happening is Houston would actually require us to trade one of our young pass rushers like Montez Sweat, who I'm not willing to part with. I know I speak like I'm the GM, but that's how I take it. It's personal. It's my team. I'm not willing to give up Montez Sweat. I refuse to give up Chase Young. And no, you cannot have Bostic. You can't have any of my pass rushers. It's not happening. That's just out of the question. Would I be willing to part with this year's first round pick? No. Next year, okay. Next year I'll part ways with that pick. Heck, I'll give you my first 3 picks of the next year if I can. I will, but I'm not giving up this year's picks. This year's picks are a little too important. So let me switch gears and get that ready for you. All right. So one of the players that I brought up and for the Washington football team to draft is a safety. I want my guy out of Oregon, Javon Holland. Now, more than likely, he's probably going to go super high in the draft. Hopefully, he's there for us. Now, this is just my wish list. So we're just going to watch some of his highlights right quick, and you'll see just what I'm talking about. The man is an absolute ball hawk. And here we go. Look at that. Just look. He's a ball hawk. He snatches the ball directly. I mean, this man cannot be stopped. I mean, the way he takes the ball from. Look at that. He looks like a wide receiver, doesn't he? He looks like a wide receiver, doesn't he? And don't play with him on special teams. Watch this. Oh, absolutely. Oh, look down the sideline. Can't stop him. Can't touch him. In. Out. Back to the sideline. Keep rolling. Keep rolling. Keep rolling. Can't touch him. Can't touch him. Oh, thought you had him, didn't you? See, almost to the house. You see that? Almost to the house. Back to defense. Watch his pick. Whoop. Oh my goodness. And stays on his feet. Keeps going. Keeps going. They can't touch him. Look at that. Elusiveness. An absolute ball hawk. This man cannot be stopped. Any team, any franchise would be happy to have him. I want him in Washington. We need this. We need this. Because honestly, what I want to happen, I want us to move Landon Collins from safety to linebacker. I know it sounds crazy, but most of the time, I mean, look. Oh my, I'm getting lost in the highlights. Look at this. This is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful football. I'm a defensive kind of guy, so I played defense in high school, so of course I love to watch defense. That's a terrible pass, but an opportunity for Javon Holland to pick it off and potentially take it to the house. Look at that. Just get out of bounds. Save yourself. See what I'm saying? The team needs you. Look at that. The awareness. The awareness. This guy. My goodness. Whew. He's special. This guy is special. Now, I'm going to bring on the next guy. 1 second. Now, another name that I brought up. J.C. Horn, South Carolina. This is probably, as you see in the title, the most underrated cornerback in the nation. Here we go. You're about to watch something impressive, folks. Look at that. Ball hawk. Knows where to be. Just knows where to be. Man. And let's not kid ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves. Them kids in South Carolina know how to play ball. I mean, it is the South. Football is king. So these guys know what they're doing. Look at the pressure and the awareness. Do you see this? Now that's a good team in South Carolina. But okay, now I will admit that play right there looked like it was some holding going on. But you know, as college they didn't call it. In the league, he's gonna have to look. He's gonna have to work on that. Keep your hands off your man. That right there, that's just really good coverage. That's keeping your head on a swivel. He knew the ball was coming. They keep on testing him. J.C. Horn is going to be special as well. He's a little handsy, but you know, everyone loves physical DBs. Love a physical DB, but the awareness is off the charts. Look at that. Look at that. Popped it up and his man popped it up and number 4 had the wherewithal to come get it. Beautiful. Okay, now that's some aggression for you right there. That looked a little unnecessary, but I love the fact that he was there no matter what. Again, clean play. I need this guy. Like the players that I'm showing you are just Look at it. Punched it out. That's called peanut punch right there. It was a catch. Knock it out. Get rid of it. Now, unfortunately, this did not go down as a fumble. The guy didn't make a move, but, you know, incomplete. There it is, another one. He's dominating Auburn, man. Auburn can't do nothing against him. They can't touch him. They can't do nothing with this guy. Man. Look at how quick he is. Look at how quick he is. Oh, look at that. So fast, so fast. Quick to get to that quarterback. Look at that. Woo! Wow. Here it goes again. Come up and make a tackle. There he is. Come up and make that tackle. What I love about him is he's going in the draft as a corner, but he can play safety too if you need him to. So really, I just call him a DB. He's just a ball player. just a ball player. Look at this. Ooh, what a breakup. What a breakup. It just walks away from it like it don't matter. See, that's called taking care of business, folks. All right, and last but not least, every team needs a quarterback. Well, I know my team needs a quarterback, and I'm looking no further than Kyle Trask, senior quarterback, number 11, 6'5", 240 pounds for the Gators, the Florida Gators. Let's have a look, see, shall we? We're not going to watch the whole thing. It's like a 5-minute clip, but you'll get the gist. What's important to watch with this guy is his ball placement and puts it only where his receiver can get it and can thread a needle. He's incredibly polished for a college quarterback, which I know a lot of people say that, but I know he's going to need some work now. Unfortunately, toward the end of his season this year, he played pretty terribly in a championship game, and that may have dropped his stock a little bit, which actually for me works really well because it means that he'll be easier to pick up in the second round, hopefully. They have him, ESPN has him being the 6th quarterback taken, which is strange considering that he is much better than anyone's given him any real credit for. They have him behind Trey Lance. Trey Lance is far from Trey Lance is like Lamar Jackson with less of an arm and a lot less accurate. But overall ball placement, best quarterback goes to Kyle Trask. I mean, honestly, I think the first pick is probably going to end up being, depending on who gets the pick, and right now it's Jacksonville, so it'll probably be Trevor Lawrence. But just keep it 100% real with you. If I had to say one of them was going to go first, Trevor Lawrence goes first. Number 2 would be probably Justin Fields from Ohio State, followed by BYU's Zach Wilson. The 4th quarterback would probably be either Mac Jones from Alabama or Kyle Trask. Honestly, I'd probably take Kyle Trask before Mac Jones, only because Mac Jones has the benefit of playing with only the best receivers to ever come out in college football. But that's what Alabama does. Everyone goes to Alabama. That's what happens. But as you can see, look, even when plays break down, he has enough sense to get rid of it. And the ball placement, again, is crazy. Watch him hit his receiver right between the numbers. Boom. Beautiful. So these are just some clips I'm going to show you. And he plays the game at a high level. I'm not saying he's going to come out and be a starter right away, but if you need him to, I'm sure he could do it. You know? Now, we can stop right there. We don't need to go any further. I think you get the point. The ball placement, I can't wait to see his Wonderlic score. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Now, speaking of which, I do have to say, there is a chance that Washington does not draft a quarterback. To which I will say this. If we do not draft a quarterback because our guy isn't there or Ron Rivera sees fit to go after another veteran, and this is me talking to Ron Rivera, so you have to excuse me, I'm gonna get a little personal here. Please. If you're going after a veteran, get someone who still has something left in the tank. Now, I understand he may be slightly injury prone due to his playing for Detroit, but Matthew Stafford is so talented, and we have everything he needs here in Washington. Make the trade happen. If you have to give up this year's second-round pick, I'm fine with that, especially if you're going to use it on Kyle Trask anyway. I would take Matthew Stafford. He's got a good 5 years left in him of meaningful football. That gives us more than enough time to find someone to, either pick up behind him or, because I'm pretty sure both Kyle Allen and Heineke are both coming back next year. So, Taylor Heineke really showed out in last week's playoff game because as much as some Washington fans will call me crazy for this, I believe he gave us the best chance to win anyway because Alex Smith looked extremely stiff in the pocket the previous game. And I watched him in practice as well. He wasn't moving very well. It wasn't just that calf. His whole leg is just not there anymore. That's why I think he'll retire. But if we don't take Kyle Trask with the second pick in the draft, second round, of course, with our second pick in the second round, hopefully we have the wherewithal to make a trade for a guy like Matthew Stafford. I'm saying that for a reason, Ron Rivera. Cannon for an arm, pinpoint accuracy, and he's a veteran. He's also a consummate professional. Okay? Ron, please. Kyle Trask, Matthew Stafford, please. Anyway, back to the show. Those are just some of the guys that I think that we should go after. Out of all those guys, if I can come away with J.C. Horn, I'll be more than ecstatic because at times our secondary was iffy, and I'm being nice about it. One of the most frustrating players to watch, and the reason I want J.C. Horn is because you can play him at safety or corner, which is beautiful because if I need him to play safety opposite Landon Collins, say we don't move him to the linebacker position, he can play opposite Landon Collins, because I'm going to tell you right now, as much as I love Troy Apke for his speed and all the potential that he has, he is frustrating to have to watch play sometimes. The angles he takes on tackles are maddening. I don't understand what he's looking at, but that's beside the point. Cam Curl showed up this year. He was almost undrafted, and the kid played all-pro football all year long. So I say go out the diamonds in the rough, get some high picks if you can, but look who fits your scheme. Look for the look for the toughness. Look for the guys who really, really want it. All right, Ron, please. We got to do better than we did this year. This year, the whole division was awful. Next year is a new year. It doesn't matter how good or bad the division is. We need to stand atop it. We need to dominate it this time. As well as we played this year, I think we can do even better. This year we finished 7-9. Next year, I want 500 or better. 8-8 or better. We can do it. All right. Well, that's enough of me pandering to my team, my coach. Until next week. And next week we'll talk more basketball than football because there's only a few games. But we're going to talk more about Green Bay because Green Bay is scaring me right now. Tampa Bay better be ready. And I really, really, really look for a good game between Buffalo and Kansas City. I don't know which way that's going to go, especially if Mahomes is ready because Josh Allen is looking like an absolute legend for the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to tell you right now, and this is another bold, this is hot take, so I'm going to make one more bold prediction. If Patrick Mahomes plays next week and the Buffalo Bills pull off that win, they're going to win the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter who they play after that. I'm saying that right now. If the Buffalo Bills beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the next game, the Buffalo Bills will advance to the Super Bowl and proceed to win no matter who they're playing. And that's this week's hot take. Until next time, I've been Marcus. Later, folks.